Super Dave here with another review. Super Dave here with another Silverhawks review. Today we're looking at Steelwill by Super 7. Let's go ahead and break open his shipper box. And there it is again, that awesome logo on the front of that really cool foil box. Just look at that, and then the embossing on the back. And then go ahead and take a look. Oh man, he even has a little bit more of a shine than Bluegrass did to him. Still not as metallic as the Raymond toys, but so cool. Silverhawks down here, Steelwill, all of his accessories, this Ultimates figure, and then of course, bang, that artwork on the back, which is so neat. Look at those eyes. I think it's neat the way that works on there. It's reflecting everything in space. And then there is his bio. If you'd like to pause and read that now, you can. All right, let's go ahead and break open Steelwill and check him out. And now to look at Steelwill. We're back at the Silverhawks headquarters with some other allies, taking a look at the football player himself, also law enforcement officer, Steelwill, and he is large and in charge. So let's first take a look at Steelwill's accessories. First of all, taking a look at his hands. He comes with a set of balled-up fisted hands, a left and a right. The right one is the steel one, if you will. And then also two trigger finger hands, a left and a right. Also two open palm hands or flight type hands. He also comes with a grabbing or weapon holding hand, left and right. And then he comes with a fifth set, which he comes equipped out of the package, which are piano playing hands. No, I'm just kidding. More relaxed open palm hands there. So that is cool. Only thing that I will say very quickly here is they just look small for this caliber of figure. He is so big, and his hands just look kind of tiny. They ought to be larger, I think. Especially the steel one kind of looks smaller than even the flesh tone one, and that may just be a color illusion there. But then also, our Steelwill comes with a left arm that is the flesh tone, the actual human arm with the wings attached, as well as a right arm, which is the steel arm, the mechanical cyborg arm with the wing attached. And of course, that's going to mean that when these other arms are detached, he comes with two arms on those either sides that do not have wings attached. So they did it a little different than Raymond Toys did, but that's okay. He comes with only 3 head sculpts with this figure. He comes with more of a stoic head sculpt here, as we see, as well as one where he's grinning with his teeth showing here with an open mouth look. And then he actually does come with his armored face helmet, and his looks like a football player's helmet instead of a Hulk or bird style shield over his face. So you just, instead of having a magnetic clip-on face shield like Raymond Toys did, you just have an actual alternate head sculpt. So that works, that's cool. It would be neat to see how Raymond Toys would do Steelwill and Bluegrass for that matter, but we see how this one is done, and that's really neat that you can still have that helmeted look, but in this case a separate head sculpt, basically, if you will. And Steelwill comes with his companion Hawk, Razor, and that is his weapon bird, cybernetic bird that also comes with a alternate version with wings spread out. And so he's got a really thick bird, which kind of, you know, reflects him also. He's pretty thick. So his bird is bigger and thicker than we saw with bluegrass bird sideman. But anyway, there you have that. Then you also have two weapons. You have this weapon with like the chattering teeth connected to the end, and it comes with an alternate end piece, one that has the mouth open as you see there, and then one that can be attached and pegged in on the end of it with the mouth closed. So that's very interesting. Being that I have not seen all the episodes, I'm not sure which episode that's from, but that is really interesting that he comes with that style of weapon. Then he also comes with this other weapon, which is a blaster, and you can peg in this translucent fire effect on the end of it. And it's interesting to note that they are not compatible with each other. You cannot alternate this blast piece or the chattering teeth piece between guns. This has a different size hole than the end of that one. So that's interesting to note. And then finally, concerning his weapons, he has these two blaster pieces, these blue translucent beams, like laser beams, which will allow him to attach them to his shoulder blasters here. And you can see that as we zoom on in here so you can get a look at those shoulder blasters. And these are only on the arms that have the wings attached. There's one on the left and right shoulder, and they peg right into those blasters so that he can blast like he did in the cartoon from his shoulders, those awesome laser beams, which is really neat. Wonder if they could be used with the birds. And as I take a look, there is no hole in his mouth or in his eyes or anywhere, but you might could Dremel a hole inside of that open mouth so that he could use that blaster. So that's an idea there for our razor or razor bird here. But that is so neat. That's unique. That's something you wouldn't necessarily, think of as a suit. But here again, they're cybernetic, so I guess their suit has that blaster built into the shoulders somehow or another. It's interesting to figure out how that one works, being that's a flesh arm versus a cybernetic arm. How is those laser blasters coming out of that flesh tone arm there, kind of thing. But anyway, it's just make-believe, but that is cool. Cool touch, true to the cartoon, and very neat. This cartoon was produced by the same people that did the Thundercats, the Rankin Bass family and cartoon group. So it's interesting to see, just some of the creativity that went into this cartoon. It was only one season, but it was an awesome cartoon, and I'm not as familiar with it as the Thundercats, but I certainly think they are awesome. So now let's take a look at our Steelwill's Articulation. Bringing him in a little closer here, we're going to take a look at his head articulation. He's able to look up a really good amount. That is impressive. He even gets some of those flight poses with that ability. But he's not able to look down hardly at all, almost just straight ahead, just maybe a very little bit of a downward gaze. So that is unfortunate. It seems like there's always a catch-22 with these Super 7 figures when it comes to the head sculpts. But he does get some head pivoting, so that's nice. We're going to be able to look side to side, of course. And I'm really pleased with the ability to look up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other head sculpts while we're at it. So we have the same amount with this one. He's going to be able to look up a really good amount and not really be able to look down, but get some pretty good head pivoting. So that's that second head sculpt. And here's the one I was really interested in, the helmeted head or the face masked head, which also turns into a helmet for Steelwill. He's able to look up again a very good amount, but there again, not as much down. Maybe a little bit more than the other heads, or it may just be because of the shape of it. Good head pivoting side to side. So there's all three of the head sculpts. Now let's move on to the arms. Of course, he's going to be able to get full 360, bicep swivel, single jointed elbows with swivel at the elbows, better than 90 degrees going up that way, hinged and swivel at the hands. Same on this side with the cybernetic one. And on this one, oh man, very limited. He's not going to be able to crunch forward or bend back hardly at all. I even tried to kind of, you know, snap it into place like I was able to do bluegrass, but I've not been able to do it, and I don't want to bend anything and cause anything to break. Also, I don't know if you can hear it. I was shaking him. There is a little bit of a rattle, so something is loose on the inside of there, which is a little unfortunate. And this is a little loose too. It's kind of wiggles, kind of, you know, real loose on his diaphragm. But I just wish that he could have bent forward and backwards a little better. You don't even really get a side-to-side motion, which is going to limit some of your, you know, posability. He will turn side to side, has that kind of a diaper rubber piece around here. He is going to get full splits, which is good, and because of the way these are built up inside of here, he will get some thigh rotation built up in there. He has single jointed knees, which get pretty decent range, better than most of our Super 7 single jointed knees, and also has that knee rotation. He's going to be able to get pretty good amount of downward slope of that foot, hardly any at all going up. And then because this is a rotating ball joint, you're going to be able to get it in different positions, but you get some rocker, not as much as with bluegrass. It's a little limited on mine. You do get the foot peg hole in the bottom, and so that will help get him to stand. And look, he's got a firm foundation. It's kind of flat-footed, but he has a big foot, which at least that, you know, matches, even though he's got these tiny little hands. That to me did not match as much, but the feet do, so that's pretty cool. All right, going on to those attachable arms, we do have a change when it comes to articulation there, because you do have the ability to go up and down with those arms. You even have bicep swivel, which is very tight and it's kind of limited because the wings are attached, but you do have bicep swivel there. Just have to kind of restricted there. You do have swivel and hinge at the wrist, but you do not have the ability to bend at the elbow at all, and that's because you're going to basically be in flight mode. But those wings do tailor perfectly to his, you know, shape and frame there, so that is really nice. And then the fact that he's able to look up really good, he's going to be able to get some good flight poses. And I like the fact that you can bend that knee pretty good, so you're going to be able to, you know, pose him and really get some good flight poses. It is a shame that the diaphragm doesn't go back any further. That would help, but that still looks really good. You can see there how good that looks. And let's go ahead and take a look at him without that helmet on, because even though I know he probably would fly mostly with the helmet on, let's go ahead and get him smiling here. Pop that piece on and take a look. There he is flying, and where you can see his face looking really sharp there, looking good. I love that. He looks nice. He even has a little bit more, in my opinion, just a little bit more of a metallic kind of look to his. Not near as much as we had with Quicksilver from Raymond Toys, but just a little bit more of a metallic type shading and look to him compared to even Bluegrass. But maybe it's because of those wings. But I like it. I like the shape. Looks just like he stepped out of the cartoon, which is what Super 7 was going for. So I can appreciate what they were trying to do with these color choices. But still would have loved to have had a little bit more of a silver look. But overall, I'm pleased with him. And that, my friends, is all of his articulation and accessories. Now let's do some comparisons. And here is Steelwill with Razor. You also see him holding that cannon or that blaster in his right hand with that trigger finger. And there he is beside Bluegrass. Bluegrass holding his lick fire, I believe it was. Anyway, his guitar, which is his bird, his hawk, Sideman transformed into a guitar. There's Silver Sable by Marvel Legends beside him, sporting his cowboy hat. She really likes the hat and likes Bluegrass too. But there is our star of the hour, and that is Steelwill with Razor. And he's looking cool. He's just an interesting character, really neat. He has a twin sister, Steelheart. And they're twins because this is Sergeant Wheelheart, and they have, as you read in the bio, a psychic bond. that they can communicate between each other. And so that is really cool. So really cool backstory for this character, and he's really solid looking, I think. And here is Steelwill next to Gears of Wars by Storm Collectibles. Augustus Cole with his football themed outfit on with the helmet and the football there, which is really cool. And so Steelwill says, you do not have, I know you got some cool weapons in Gears of War, but you do not have a weapon quite as unique as this one, Augustus, because mine has a chattermouth on the end of, end of it, so he can bite you. And nobody likes a biter, especially in football. All right. They're looking cool together. Augustus is definitely bigger, but I mean, Steelwill holds his own for sure. And since we have still not received Quicksilver by Super 7, here's Raymond Toys Quicksilver for the Silverhawks, and you can see that he still measures in well with him. The head sculpt is definitely smaller, and even the birds are smaller, but you can still fit them in there, I do believe. And there again, I mean, Steelwill's Razor bird here is a lot larger because he's just a beefier character. Now, you see Raymond Toys had two sets of wings. One you could attach that looked like it's folded in a little bit, and then the one with fully extended. This one, you can just basically bend that arm, and since that's a rubbery feel, that those wings, you can still make it look like it's folded up behind him. As you see here, it's basically just, you know, folded in behind him, but still gives him that look that you're going for, to make it look like that wing is folded in. So that works too. And then this one's fully extended, and there's the bird perched on his arm with his wings fully stretched out. So looking really good in my opinion here. And here's another cool comparison. Here's Revoltech's Cable next to Super 7 Steelwill. And of course, Cable has just a lot more detail and articulation, but size-wise, they fit good, I think, in with this frame. So I like that. Like the looks of him. He's got some cybernetics as well, a flesh arm and a cybernetic arm, and is in that same bulk, big, you know, size like Steelwill. So that's a good matchup. He just don't have a bird, right? Cable. But they look cool together. One thing I will mention, you know, again, there is no articulation to these birds, either one that came with Steelwill, and all of his wrists, as far as his hands that he came with Steelwill, are horizontally hinged. There's no vertical hinged. And the birds with the that came with this Quicksilver by Raymond Toys is it's clips onto his wrist magnetically, which is cool. And even his faceplate, and you can check out my review on him, but even the faceplate is magnetically attached, which is really neat. So definitely a difference here in the interpretation. Super 7 did give Raymond Toys the license to make this figure, as well as a Monstar, which is very metallic looking, and we have a Monstar that we're going to be reviewing hopefully very soon in this line, also with Super 7 made toys. So this is really cool. I've really enjoyed this Steelwill. He is neat. Let's take a look at them now with the Thundercats. I know we didn't do that with Bluegrass, but let's take a look at Steelwill and Bluegrass along with some Thundercats very quickly here, and then we will be on our way right back with you. And somehow the Thunder Tank was able to come inside of the Silverhawk's space station. And here is Panthro and Lion-O visiting Steelwill and some of the other allies that have gathered together. And you can see he's looking awesome, perched up on top of this cat. Here we have birds and cats together. Wonder what they were thinking, right? Must have been an odd dream that Rankin Bass had that during that time. But there is some of the gang inside of the Thunder Tank. And so these are kind of cousins, if you will. This group from Third Earth, and then the Silverhawks that pretty much flew around in outer space. They actually did mention some familiar or actual the same planets in these two episodes as though they were in the same multiverse or universe. So that's cool. There was some crossover there, but you never actually saw them in the actual cartoon together, to my knowledge. But it's still really neat to see these side by side. Let's take a look at them actually on floor level together. And here is our Silverhawks alongside Lion-O. You have Bluegrass, Steelwill with Razor and Lion-O here, and they're looking awesome together. There's even Buzz Lightyear in the background there. It's just so cool seeing these together. You see how they measure up, so that's really neat. Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us for this Super Dave review, as we've been looking at some Silverhawks on the Silverhawk space station along with some allies and friends. And so that is so cool. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like, comment if you have something to say. Also, subscribe if you haven't done so. We'd love to continue to grow. We appreciate every one of you. And come back and see us again for another Super Dave review. Here's some photos in the photo gallery.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape,